Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Today's theme is Beyond the Legal Lens with a tax expert. So, friends, we are at Ank Advisors and at Ankit Namdeo's office. Let me introduce Ankit. He's a seasoned tax lawyer and founder of Ank Advisors. Ankit brings a unique perspective to the table from his days as a senior associate at Cyril Amarchal Mangandas CAM to his current role as a strategic tax advisor. Ankit has navigated the intricacies of cross border transactions and tax litigation with finesse. So, Ankit, welcome to the special episode of this Coffee Conversation Show. Just wanted to explain to you our format. We divide into three parts. One, professional journey. Second, personal. And third will be a surprise rapid fire round. So if you answer those questions very wittily and quickly, so you will get this ebook. I'm author of 12 ebooks. So this will be your copy. So friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani here, host and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution. So let's delve into this interesting conversation. Ankit, welcome once again.
Thank you, Amit, for the warm welcome and kind introduction.
So, Ankit, my first question of your professional journey round. Uh, you have an interesting journey in the legal field, focusing on tax law and cross-border transactions. So, what got you excited to pursue this tax law as a niche area?
So initially, when I was in the law school back in 2011, 12, there was a lot of background, and there was a lot of information that was going with respect to new upcoming fields, and corporate law was picking up very well, and a lot of people were interested in it. What I particularly found lacking was there were not many people who were keen to take up a practice in tax laws. So that particularly, started give me a reason to think about, and whether it's a good practice area. And so I started learning about tax laws, how a particular tax implications follow for specifically cross borders, and started doing more and more research about the topics on trending topics on taxes. And that's when I thought, let's do something that I enjoy. I happened to lay my hands on a international moot court back in 2012, which was organized here in Bombay, and so it was based on international tax. Interestingly, I had not studied tax as a part of curriculum back then. That was my first sort of exposure to taxes, and I really enjoyed working on it. So I thought, let's try and push it, and do something which you can enjoy, rather than picking up something which is very routinely being picked up by most of the law students. So that's how in the why of why I chose to be a tax lawyer.
Interesting journey. So, let's go back memories. Your time at Cyril Amarchand. Let's hear out, okay, what type of case did you handle and how was your journey at CAM?
At CAM, we used to have a very interesting kind of a profile where we were looking at direct tax team, and where we were advising the corporate teams on the transaction. So there was a lot of transaction tax related work that we used to do. There was also end-to-end litigation when it comes to high court level matters, and tax appeals and petitions that we were handling for some clients. So again, that was a very mixed bag of exposure. What was very interesting was the matters that used to come at Amarchand were slightly more complex and complicated than the regular bread and butter kind of work that you would get. So that's why we thought of capitalizing on that experience of having advised in complex matters, and pursue more and more learning about tax laws.
So my next question, Ankit, will be when this idea of starting your own venture, Ank Advisors, and the story behind this name of Ank Advisors, and how your journey has been till date?
Uh, Very interesting question. I must thank you for the question. My last day at Amarchand was around 31st March 2021, and on 1st of April 21, I was already working on three matters. So that's how fast, honestly, things moved. So I did not actually had the time and sit and think through that. These are the plans that I would have. I just had one single uh, uh, larger focus point that we wanted to provide value-adding tax and legal services to a larger clientele, a more broad set of people at a reasonable price. So that was the focus point for us to think through. And the name Ank actually is the Ank in Hindi, meaning digits.
Mhm.
So that's how the name Ank comes from. It's written in English and it takes a part of my name also in the branding.
Yes.
So that's how you typically have that's where the branding consultants and service providers come in. But yeah, so that was the reason for me to brand it as such. And the objective was to provide more value adding services at a contrastingly fair value and reasonable prices. So that's where the ideology of setting up our own boutique tax firm comes from.
That's interesting story behind Ank Advisors name and the way you put it across, because your name is also Ankit Namdeo. So people can recollect, कि हाँ भाई, I'm going to Ank to Ankit. In
Yes.
short form, Ank
Yeah.
Ankit, Ank Ankit.
Yeah.
So it's rhymes also.
Yes.
So let's continue our conversation, Ankit. What are some common misconceptions about tax law you come across, and how do you address them in your practice?
So I think the biggest misconception that I've come across is I think it's a good mental and psychological barrier that a lot of law students have, and even lawyers have in general, is that tax is a lot to do with accounting. And we don't people are generally scared of picking up as a practice area because of number crunching involved, etc. So that's I think we often undermine the importance of the tax as a legal resource, because any tax is ultimately implemented by way of our legislation. So we often undermine the mere fact that ultimately it's a law. And as long as you're focusing on the legal aspects of it, there would be, of course, some number crunching involved. There would be some basic mathematical skills involved. But as long as you are comfortable doing it and focusing on the larger perspectives of the legal aspects, you're good to go. So I think that would be one of the biggest misconceptions that I feel people have. And what we do in our practice is, there are certain basic mathematical courses and Excel training, etc., that we uh, ask our associates to go through, just to ensure that they're let go of this fear of excels and number crunching. Not that we sit and do that day in day out, but there should not be any fear of doing it. As and when required, you should be comfortable to do it. That's all that is required for you to excel as a tax lawyer.
Thank you for clarifying the misconceptions regarding this legal fraternity others have about the tax laws. My next question will be, you are focusing on the litigation and appellate part. So, what got you interested in this part, and how has been your contribution in this litigation, tax litigation?
That's a very interesting question. So, the biggest reason why I wanted to be a tax litigator goes long back, actually, to much before my Amachan days or Khaitan days. Is when I was as a law student, there were a lot of disputes going around at the time of entry and of the CLAT itself. And as a personal experience to litigation, I wanted to ensure that we cater to the clients, and we are able to give them end-to-end solutions so that they don't have to sit and go through a longer route and grind of litigation. So that's why we picked up the end-to-end bit of tax litigation. What we have been doing here at Ank Advisors, we are doing a lot of work around writ petitions. So we are filing writ petitions wherever there is an illegality or element of illegality involved in the procedures and the assessments done by the tax officer, be it with respect to GST, an illegal demand being raised by the GST officers, or let's say a violation of principles of natural justice and appropriate notice not having not been given to the assessee. So we are doing a lot of work around writ petitions that's there, and then we are also doing a lot of appellate regular tax appellate level of work where we are representing the clients before tax tribunals, before the tax authorities and appeals. So that's how the litigation practice has shaped up. In last 3 years, we have been able to avoid tax demands of roughly 950 crores in last 3 years. Yes.
That's very interesting. My next question will be Ankit. How do you approach negotiating tax strategies, structures for your Indian clients as well as your foreign clients in cross border taxation?
So what we typically advise the companies on structuring, whenever we are advising them on structuring elements, and be it inbound in terms of the money being invested into India, or outbound in the sense of the money going outside India and the investments going outside India. We look at the commercial objectives around it. We look at the holistic perspective, including the tax efficiency of structures. How generally people tend to miss out on a larger planning of the repatriations and exits at the time of investment itself, and later on there is a shock element, and there is people are not completely happy with the tax implications. So rather than being in a situation like this where you're ultimately end up looking at a larger tax dispute or a tax liability, it's better that you structure it properly, not purely focusing on only on the tax element, but also on the commercial and the larger objectives. So that's one thing which I advise the clients on, to focus on a holistic perspective, not just look at taxes, but also look at the overall benefits or overall objectives of the structure being put up. And that's how we have created structures where investments are being made cross border, be it looking coming from Singapore or Mauritius, or even outbound in a Mauritius in a Singapore structure.
That's very interesting. Now, Ankit, who has influenced you in the field of tax law?
Who has influenced me in the field of tax law? My very earlier days of being a very enthusiastic tax student, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to get a internship with Mr. Dastu, Mr. Soli Dastu. I still remember he's right here at Kaka Chambers, and so I was fortunate to get an internship with him, and looking at him and the kind of sort of demeanor he has, and the kind of personality and the knowledge base he has, and still has the humbleness and humility to go through the basic provisions every time that he's looking at a particular situation or a case study. So that's something that really inspired me, and even till date I try to follow that up in my own practice, and I look at the basic provisions in the Bear Act every time that I have to and try to read it, because you never know, there could be things or elements that you may not have identified in particular, and that could turn out to be a game changer. So you never know.
Very interesting. So, my next question will be, how do you stay updated with latest developments in tax regulations, both domestically and internationally?
So what we have been doing is, I come from a typical law school background, so there is a lot of journal reading that I typically advise my juniors to do on a regular basis, and I myself ensure that we are doing this. In addition to that, there, of course, we have to be updated with the technology, and as the technology is also evolving, so now there are a lot of legal research databases that are coming up, and in fact, there are tax and legal journalisms, which is which is being actively pursued by a lot of service providers. So we are doing that. I regularly keep following Tax Sutra. That's one regular source that we follow. Then there is Chambers journals that we keep reading through. So there are a lot of journals, and in terms of international developments, we are also looking at a lot of OECD related updates that are coming up. So it's really important because tax is a very dynamic field.
Yes,
Every year
yes.
the law keeps on changing, and it has to mandatorily change by way of the amendments to the made by the Finance Act, particularly for that year. So it's a very upbringing, kind of very developing field that one should focus on, and hence it's important that you are very updated and abreast of the new and the latest developments in the field.
Very interesting suggestions you have shared for any tax lawyer student. Watch his Coffee Conversation episode, and you will come to know what publications to follow from Ankit, who was shared. Now, continue conversation, Ankit. Your experience with legal technology, uh, with your different work areas, working with different law firms. So, which type of legal tech tools have you come across, and how did it impact your work?
There are. I think it's very important for one to kind of move with the times ahead, and focus on tools and technological developments that are there, and innovations that are saving time. One particular tool that I have used in the past is like Workshare, that we used to do for comparing the documents and ensuring that there are no changes that are missed out. Because when you're working on an M&A transactions, there are multiple versions of a document that are going through, and it's sometimes it gets confusing to recognize which is the change that particular person have done, or what is the version, so right version to look at. So all of that basic things are taken care of, and I think that's one. And then there were other sort of machine learning based softwares that I've used in the past, and now I've slowly started integrating a lot of use of AI into the practice. So we're trying to integrate that with the legal research. There are a couple of service providers that we are in touch with, and we are coming up with something to save, and not just to do a one-off transaction, or just have a one draft generated
Mhm.
from the chat gpt or any other AI based tool. What we are looking to do is integrate it as a matter of standard practice, and try to save time and efforts for things that are regularly and can be availed of. And I personally believe information processing is one thing where computers would always be, and sort of faster than and than a human mind. So it does make sense to sort of factor that in and try to save time as much as we can.
Very interesting. So now, Ankit, uh, how do you see the future of tax law evolving in the context of international transactions and cross-border investments?
No, the times have changed. Very recently, there have been a lot of changes around how the international world is going around. There are changes around the OECD. There was action plan, based erosion profit shifting action plan, that was initiated by the OECD, that has led to a lot of changes, including the multilateral instrument that was implemented. And now we are going to see the Mauritius treaty being amended again to align that particular treaty with the minimum standard that were provided for in the BEPS action plans and in the MLI. So one particular aspect I would say is very important is we often undermine the importance of how fast that information is being shared within the tax authorities. There is something called as an automatic exchange of information. Earlier, when one particular tax authority had to get information from another tax authority, they would have to put in a specific request
Mhm.
seeking that information. Now that's not how it operates. There is an automatic exchange of information which is periodically done between tax authorities, and also there is a common reporting standards for those, for the authorities, about how to report that information. So there is a lot of synchronization that is being done in terms of the overall
Mhm.
world tax system, if I can call it that. And one has to be very smart and competent enough to manage things in order to not be caught up in a larger tax dispute unnecessarily, while looking at and ensuring the compliances are also undertaken.
Very interestingly, you explained. My last question for this professional journey round will be: what advice would you give to aspiring lawyers looking to specialize in tax law?
Yeah. Right. I must thank you for this question. I feel it's very important for young lawyers to pick up field and which are very innovation and development based. There are not many lawyers who operate in the area of tax laws, and I personally can vouch for it, because initially when we started Ank Advisors, it was difficult for us to get hold of juniors who had the skill set. So my particular advice would be, even if you are not able to get a big, big breakthrough with any large firm, or just try and focus more on building a skill set rather than trying to avail a golden parachute. So
Mhm.
once you start building that skill set and you are not scared of basic skill set and mathematical skills and Excel, uh, and once you go beyond those kind of psychological and mental barriers, you will realize uh, the challenges of working and in a very dynamic field of tax laws. So it gives you, or keeps giving you regular challenges, and unlike in a situation where the law itself becomes static, that is not how the case will be ever when it comes to taxes. So that's one challenge, and if you are up for it, you would enjoy working as a tax lawyer. So my advice would be, build up relevant skill set, focus on writing opportunities, write articles, read articles and new latest updates, read journals, and build a value adding sort of portfolio to your CV. And if you are doing all of that, I think you will come across the right opportunity at some other relevant time.
Interesting tips you have shared. So, students, law students especially, or CAs also, do listen to this tip shared by Ankit Namdeo, a seasoned tax lawyer. It's a niche area. There are very few lawyers specialized in this kind of taxation. You're not focusing on Indian laws, but international transactions and cross-border investments. So this is a niche area. Please take up this in your career, and you will definitely being able to make a mark in your career and move in a niche area. So, friends, this was part one, round one. Now let's continue to round two, the personal journey round. So, Ankit, what are your fondest memories of your childhood, and tell us something about your family?
I grew up in a nuclear family in central India. So most of my days, I've stayed at a lot of different places. Being growing up in around Bhopal, and because my dad used to be in a transferable job, he's still working with the government. So I used to stay at very very unique kind of places which are very close to the nature, because he comes from a mining background. So we always used to have this luxury of staying around good rivers and mountains, amidst the rivers and mountains. And yeah, so I had a lot of exposure, had a lot of new set of friends that I used to keep having. In fact, and that's how my mom has shared that story with me once, that um, I was so used to, as a kid, I was so used to getting transferred and looking at a different set of school each term, That the first time that I had the occasion to actually write two exams in the same school, I thought I had flunked it, and I was crying. I think I was in second or third standard, must be very young. But my mom tells me that that's how frequent the transfers used to be. So that's one of the very fond memories that I have my younger childhood.
Interesting. So you have visited different places, learned about the different cities, towns. That's very interesting. Uh, Now let's go to your college days. You went to NLU, Lucknow.
Yes.
What was your favorite subject over there, and how was your college life?
College life was initially slightly challenging to see, because I personally come from a boarding school background. So for me, it was completely fine, and I was okay to absorb into the hostel life, and the kind of curriculum we had, the kind of the kind of environment that we had at RMLNU. It was quite amazing. The seniors were very cooperative, and we used to have good exposure to a lot of extracurricular activities. So it's not that we are completely focusing only on academics, and we are always sort of trying to learn new things through these kind of activities like moot courts and parliamentary debates and model United Nations debates, etc. So that's one thing, and as a young sort of individual, I was always very keen to enjoy cricket in the law school, so I used to play cricket as well.
Interesting. So let's learn about your hobbies or interests that you pursue in your free time.
Hobbies, I try to play cricket whenever I can, whenever I get the opportunity. I mean, now with the kind of because it's a team sport, so it takes a lot of people to come together, free up their calendars and enjoy. So that's one thing I regularly follow, to the extent that I can practice of meditating at least for 20-25 minutes in a day. That's one thing which I really, which is kind of unplugs me. And then there is some bits of yoga that I'm doing, and I particularly enjoy trekking and a mild adventurous kind of wanderlust experiences of traveling around and trekking. So I look forward to the monsoon trekking seasons around Mumbai, and yeah.
Very interesting. So my next question was on travel, but you shared something about your travel, your trekking. So any memorable experience which you have from your trekking expeditions, like to hear it out.
Yeah, there is one particular experience I had when I was trekking. I think this is not so old. It's in prior COVID, around 2018-19. I was trekking to Ladakh in Zanskar Valley on the frozen Zanskar River. It was a winter trek, so we were going uphill on the river. It was kind of completely frozen. Some bits of it was not, so we had to climb up and uh, you know. Uh, then get on to the back to the river. And I had an incident where I accidentally slipped, and I was about to fall off to into the river with
Mhm.
with a slightly melting kind of ice, which would have been very hurtful. So, but I ultimately did complete the trek, and I was very sort of, I took it up as a challenge, specifically because it was a sub-minimal and a sub-zero temperature trek, so it was very painful.
Mhm.
But I somehow managed to complete it, and I think it's something that I'm still proud of, and I've been able to then continue trekking, do some trekkings around Mumbai.
So Ankit, let's talk about your interest in food.
I am a foodie by nature. I enjoy, cooking, as well as exploring a lot of other cuisines. My because my law school was in Lucknow, so for 5 years I had, and I'm thankful for that opportunity to have my taste buds exposed to a different level of food. In fact, when I first came to Mumbai, it was very difficult for me to adjust to the food options that Mumbai has to offer, because it was not easy to satiate my taste buds. And yeah, so in particular, I like Mughlai cuisine a lot
Mm-hmm.
because of having stayed in the city of Nawabs for 5 years. So a lot of that city has to offer a lot in terms of specifically if you're a non-vegetarian, it has a lot to
Lot,
offer.
lot.
And even for vegetarian, the taste, the kind of food options that you get um, in Lucknow are quite amazing. So uh, yeah,
So how's
thoroughly enjoyed.
continue conversation? You said you're a foodie and you like a Mughlai cuisine. So in Bombay, there are good Mughlai restaurants. So which one do you have found to offer you interesting Mughlai cuisines?
In particular, I like Shalimar and Noor Mohammadi,
Hmm.
and I particularly look forward to Ramzans and Eid to get the opportunity to go and explore the food options that are there at Muhammad Ali Road during Ramzans. And in fact, there are a couple of other places offering good Arabian kind of food cuisines as well. Uh, there's one at Fountain called Arabian, which Arabian Delights or Arabian Express, I'm not sure, but has good options that one can explore. Turkey Junction again is one
Hmm.
which I particularly enjoy going to.
Wow. So this is another topic to, because I'm also a foodie. So it's another what do you say, coffee topic to be carried some other time. Uh, I see Kabir, you have done a lot of expert speaker sessions and been in teaching also. So how this journey has helped you?
No, see, when you go out and try to sort of have a conversation with people about a particular topic, and then you're trying to imbibe certain set of knowledge and skill set onto the people. What you also gain and develop is a lot of fresh perspectives on the table, um, and sometimes that fresh perspective can lend you a thing or two which you yourself may not have been able to figure it out. Specifically from an entrepreneurial perspective, we often sort of juggle and shuffle between things, and you have to work in 10 number of different capacities. So that fresh perspective gives you a hand in getting around those challenges in particular, which you may have faced in any situation. So that is helpful, and that develops and helps you a lot. Also, what it does, it sort of does a thorough cleansing check on your internal processes when you're preparing for a session. It does make sense to put in some time and ensure that you are going through the flow of things. Your research is in order, you're prepared well for the session, and the person who's coming to attend those lecture or sessions should be able to get out as a slightly wiser version of themselves,
Mhm.
if at all, or at least more knowledgeable than they would have walked in. So that's how I try to sort of focus on my own processes when it comes to teaching or attending, delivering specific lectures as a speaker.
Interesting, interesting. So, Ankit, what motivates and inspires you on a daily basis?
What motivates me is the drive to excel, and when I started my own boutique tax law firm, Ank Advisors, initially I had not come up with large scale or grande plans for myself, but when I did, and then gradually putting up lot of larger goals for myself. There are some sort of short to long term goals also that we factor in. So there are a lot of tracking that goes through when it comes to the performances. So in order to excel on all of those parameters, and even to sort of satisfy myself that I'm following those processes well and doing what I can, uh, that is what is driving and motivating me to keep working in the profession.
Interesting. So my last question, Ankit. It's on Ankit. Describe Ankit in one line.
I would say very hardworking, very diligent. I think that's about it.
Very good. So, friends, we come to the personal round, and now we go to the fun round. That is a rapid fire round. So, so I'll just begin. So, Ankit, which is your favorite travel place?
My favorite travel place, I've not been there yet, but it would be Croatia.
Okay. Uh, are you a morning or night person?
I was originally a night person. I've become a morning person gradually, due to the entrepreneurship journey that I've taken.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Okay. Uh, you like Android or iOS?
Android.
Okay. Fiction or non-fiction book?
Non-fiction.
Okay. Your favorite cuisine
Mughlai.
from Mughlai, which dish?
Biryani.
Okay. Uh, your favorite quote or mantra?
I don't have a particular uh, quote or mantra.
Okay, it's fine. One word to describe your leadership style. Word or line.
I think lead by example.
Interesting. So, friends, he answered very well. So, Ankit, you get this
Thank you.
autographed ebook.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, friend, this book, The Simplified Guide for Document Signer for Your Organization. Uh, this, anyone who wants to make his office paperless. So, this is the ebook which is on the Emerging India Forum website. You can download a PDF copy that will help you for contracts, invoices, quotations, wherever there is paperwork is there. Do get this PDF. You will get a lot of insights, and you can contact Prime Informatics Solution to implement the document signing solution. So, friends, we have come to this coffee journey round. It was a lovely conversation which we had with Ankit Namdeo, a seasoned tax lawyer. So, do watch this episode. It will be available on the Coffee Conversation Show YouTube channel on different insights on Indian tax laws, on international tax transactions and cross-border investments. This is a very lovely niche area where you will get to learn about. And he has shared, okay, we don't have to be afraid by tax numbers. His firm is also Ank, which is very thoughtful. Sanskrit word Ank means numbers, and which is all about numbers. So taxation law is all about numbers and saving, and how you can work around. So CAs collaborate with Ankit Namdeo. He's a person to look out to for affiliate tax litigation. That is also a very niche area. So there are very few in working in this areas, and it was lovely. So look forward to another coffee conversation with another guest speaker in person or on Zoom. Click on the bell button on the channel so you'll get to know next episodes. We have got around 100 plus episodes with different subject experts. Signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.